game, how's the squad looking for the game?
Good, yeah. We've obviously there'll be a couple of players returning from missing last week, Jordan Roberts and Kevin Van Veen, because obviously they weren't available last week, so they've trained well this week. They're back in the squad, which is great, and then everyone else is ready to go. I don't think we've got anyone back that missed last week through injury, but everyone else is fit and available.
Obviously there's a lot to build on the performance last week against a team who were flying high and dominated as well as won the game, which must be a big boost for the squad.
Yeah, I thought our performance against Aberdeen was very good, but I thought we took up a notch against Hearts last week. I thought that our intensity levels were brilliant. They were through the roof, and when we were in their half, we created so many chances, and yeah, it was a real dominant performance, and we have to try and replicate those standards as often as possible, and sometimes you might not get the quality or the skill level sometimes, because that can fluctuate, but the effort and the tactical discipline and everything should be always a constant, and that's what we're trying to create through our training and going into games. And to be fair to the players, the last two games have been a great benchmark for us to make sure that we try and follow on from that.
You feel it's been a big breakthrough, just the work you've done in the last few weeks, because obviously at the start of the season it's a lot of new players.
Yeah.
You had a lot of good results as well, but
yeah,
you seem to have taken up a notch in the last game as well, especially. You feel that there is kind of hitting home what you're trying to instill in the players?
I think so. I think that there's that, but I do think the Rangers result was a line in the sand for us, and a real sort of if we could use it as a positive, then we had to try, and I think we have done that. That we learned some harsh lessons ourselves. It wasn't the actual scoreline; it was more the performance, the defensive performance up to that in our approach, and I take my share of the blame for that, because it was me that set the team up, but we just wanted to go a different way, and we put the training plans in place, and and made it clear for the players. I think that was the biggest thing we learned. There was a few grey areas after the Rangers result, when we were discussing that performance with the players, and we wanted to take away those grey areas and make it clear for everybody. And I think the clarity that we've worked with in the last 3 weeks has paid dividends. I think it's made it clear for the players to understand exactly what we require in and out of possession. And but as we all say, you can train hard and put the plans in place, but it's the players that deserve the credit for going over that white line and performing how they've done, because it's been a real high point for me since I've been here. But it's 2 games, and if we for a second come off that in our minds, then we'll be doing ourselves a massive disservice, because we're better than that.
Was that last trip to Dundee as well perhaps a slight turning point? There was obviously a bit of the fans voiced their displeasure at the end of that, and after it you went on that really good run that sort of set you up for where you are now?
Yeah, look, I think you get little lessons in life, in everyday life, and certainly in football, where you sometimes you think you're bobbing along quite nicely, and then a sharp occurrence happens to you, and it sort of brings clarity to your mind and how you're approaching things, and you fix that. And yeah, we obviously had a disappointing result there last time, and performance, but every credit to the players. We went on a really good run after that. I think it was six unbeaten after that, which helped us sort of make headway in the league programme. And then we've sort of done that after the last the Rangers defeat as well. So we'd prefer to keep the consistency without having those slaps in the face, to be honest. But we also understand, like we just spoke about, it is a new squad together, and they are getting to know each other better. They are getting to know me and how we train and everything better. And I think they get great confidence from how they are together, and from their teammates they look around and they see good players and good teammates, and that's a big attribute to have.
I know you spoke a lot about squad depth and things like that, but last week especially, perhaps one of the proper first ones where you had to make a good few changes, and everybody that came in just slotted in seamlessly. Yeah,
well, I think that goes back to our training and how clear we were with everybody. You know, we always work with the whole squad. We never separate them into you know, the first team are here and the other guys are over there. We always work together, and we want everybody to have the understanding of how we want to play and approach a game. We do feel we've got competition in all the areas of the pitch, and I think it's important that every player, every individual knows how the team needs to play and approach a game, and then you have to fit into that and not the other way around, where the team has to fit around you. I think it's important that the players understand that, and I think they have done in the last 2 games, certainly, that they've all put the team first, and you get your rewards from that by showing what a good team we are, because individuals never win a game on their own. So we have to understand that that's the bedrock of what we do, and every credit to the players that started both the games, but certainly the ones that came in last week. It was a seamless transition from the Aberdeen game to the Hearts game, and the performance was excellent.
Away from Saturday a wee bit, you're being linked with another Irish player, I think Mark Doyle. Right. In the headlines, is there anything in that?
We scout a lot of players. You know, I wouldn't want to talk about any individual player specifically, but unless we were signing them. Yeah, we've been linked, we've spoke to a lot of players. You know, not just in Ireland, but in Scotland, England, and abroad. We'll continue to do that. You know, January is an important time, but you know, we're trying to focus on our games, but obviously the Irish season is just about to end, and there'll be a lot of speculation about a lot of players over there. Agents are brilliant at that, and you know, we'll see what January brings. But you know, there's a lot of players under our scope of you know, and some we like, some we don't, and some will fit in, some won't, and that's what we're trying to ascertain right now. So there's I could give you a long list of names that we could possibly be linked with in the next 6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah, Scottish clubs in general have been in that market a lot. Obviously, you have signed Ross Tierney as well. Why is that market so being used more by Scottish clubs now?
I don't know. I wouldn't know the numbers from previous, you know, to now, but I think we, you know, you've seen in our recruitment in the summer, we've looked everywhere for players, and as long as they got the right attributes and they fit into what a Motherwell player is, then we try and sign them, you know, regardless of where they're from. But I think because the island's just across the water, I think there's a lot of players over there that see England and Scotland as a great step for them going forward. You know, and I think that's what it is. And I think, you know, the money in Ireland is lower than it is in Scotland, and certainly in England, and that's how it goes. You know, it's a marketplace. There's a food chain. We know we're not at the top of it, but we know that there's good players over there that are ambitious for another opportunity, and they might see Scotland as a good platform, because it's a brilliant division. Scotland, it's got a brilliant group of clubs competing in the Premiership and below. I think it's a great destination for any player that wants to test their qualities, and you know, I think there's been success stories coming from over in Ireland as well. So I think if you have players coming across and they're successful, I think that always opens up a doorway and the eyes for those players to maybe follow.
Can I just ask you about Connor Shields? We're going to speak to him soon. He's obviously had a difficult start with the injury he had in the pre-season, but he seems to be getting better game by game, and the goal will obviously do him the longer good as well. Yeah,
look, Connor, when he came in pre-season, was flying. You know, it was before our games, but in the training at the start, you know, we were really excited about him. But unfortunately, he picked up an injury, and then we signed a few players. And by the time he got fit, you know, those players had staked their claim for the place in the team and took it. So you know, Connor's had to be patient. I think I said last week he was a little bit unsure of how we saw him, so sort of tested the water, asking about possibly going out on loan, because he's desperate to play, which we love. But I made it quite clear to him he was going nowhere, that we knew he would play and score goals for us in the Premiership. It was down to him to decide how long that would take. We know, and he knows, he's up against very stiff competition in the other quality forwards that we have. But we also know his attributes fit our model of playing superbly well, and he works absolutely 100% every day. He's quick, he knows his way to goal, and he can score. It's not a bad little ingredients list of a good striker. So, but he knows he's got to keep those standards up if he wants to stay in the team, because we've got more than a couple of good players in those positions. But every credit to him, he took his chance excellently last week, and could have had a couple more, but for some excellent goalkeeping. But like I talked about a couple of other players before, it's about what they give us and the team, apart from those little moments that we're interested in, because they've all got to be part of a team. But I thought Connor really led the line excellently well last week, and we'll see if he stays in the team for tomorrow to do it again.
That's two big results in the last two games there against teams you'd expect to be in and around the top end of the table. Do you see third place as a realistic finish this season?
You wouldn't have asked me that 2 weeks ago, would you? When we were in the bottom half and just been pumped 6-1. So the reality is we've got to keep winning games and keep putting points on our tally. That's all I'm interested in at the moment. When we dropped to 7th, I think, I wasn't fussed about the position. We're 5th at the minute, I think. I'm not fussed about the position, it's the points, because we have to keep adding on to the points. So where we get to at the end of the season will be decided by how many points we win. So we keep it quite simple, but we're not thinking about the end of the season right now. Let me assure you that. We're thinking about Dundee tomorrow and that only, and our full focus is on that game.